Just into the news from the FBI says agents shot and killed a man today who allegedly made threats against politicians and public figures, including President Biden. Officials say it happened while they were executing a search warrant in Utah. It is unclear exactly what led up to the shooting. The FBI says this incident is now under investigation. No agents were hurt. None were injured.
This is the end of the beginning. Welcome to today's show. And if you watch the news, we're getting closer and closer to the end. I mean, it's hard not to see it at this point, especially here in America as far as a republic is concerned. Now, I know on paper it's a republic, but let's be real, it's obviously not. These people have completely hijacked our government. And now what they're doing is the psychological push. They're psychologically hurting our society. And this common theme, right? You have to look at patterns and themes. Because when there's a repetition, that means that they're ingraining it in your head. That's it. It's simple. It really is. It's simple mind control. Tell you it over and over again, and it becomes truth. And what they're telling us right now, and I've called this narrative out for well over a couple of years, I've talked about how it's this rules for thee, not for me. This is all being done by design. This is not coincidental. These stories are not coincidental. People are getting pushed psychologically to the point of separation. That's what they're doing it for, right? We've seen the guys with the masks, all the politicians, and then they're out clearly plain as day with no self-awareness to put a mask on, right? So what happens? So the mainstream media covers it and covers it and covers it, right? And the same with this story about the FBI raiding a home of a guy who posted things online about Biden, and the FBI went there and took him out. That story would not be out there. The FBI goes and does this kind of stuff all the time. The story wouldn't be national news unless they knew what the reaction was going to be. And what's the reaction? People are in an uproar about it. Why? Because the FBI comes out and they say, well, anybody who threatens a sitting president, that's illegal. We need to investigate that. But then, like we saw with Donald Trump, almost every single celebrity came out openly and talked about whacking him, right? We had Snoop Dogg, we had Kathy Griffin. Of course, they make that trend immediately, which is also done by design. People weren't just organically typing that stuff into Twitter and it goes viral. They put it in the trending section so that people could be influenced by it, see it. Oh, Kathy Griffin, what's Kathy Griffin trending for? That's how Twitter really works. So they see Kathy Griffin trending and they click, and then they're like, well, how come Kathy Griffin didn't get arrested, or nothing happened to Kathy Griffin, or how come Snoop Dogg didn't? Snoop Dogg had someone dressed as Donald Trump in a music video and whacked him, right? How about Madonna? Remember that? When Madonna was at the White House and Madonna openly talked about whacking and blowing, I don't even want to say it because of the algorithms now, but let's just say taking out the White House, right? So this is done psychologically by design to hurt everybody. They're pushing people to the brink of separation. That's what they're doing. They aren't going to be able to force all of this that they want, this communist government, on our entire nation, which just as little as 5 to 10 years ago was still acting as a republic. It might not have been then with Obama in office, but they weren't censoring free speech. They weren't going for people's, right to carry. They weren't doing any of this insane stuff. So you have to think psychologically. Why do they put any of these stories out? Why would they put the story out about the FBI? If the media is controlled, which we all know, Fox, all of them are controlled. Why would they all cover this one story, right? What do they do the rest of the year? Do we ever hear other FBI stories? Oh, well, it fits a perfect narrative. This guy tweeted something out online that they considered a threat, so they went after him. Just like I said about Hunter Biden. The whole narrative is to drive you nuts. Oh, they're indicting Trump, or Trump's getting taken to court, right? On the flip side of it, why isn't Hunter Biden? Why are these people getting away with it? A two-tier system of government is the narrative they want out there because it's going to be the narrative that they can use to herd society. They are going to divide us. I'm telling you, I've been saying it for years. And then we heard national divorce the narrative of a national divorce. We've heard that over and over from politicians themselves. So they're seed planting this whole narrative. And this is going to reach probably with some type of massive false flag, massive psyop that looks a lot like the coups that we're seeing around the world, right? In Nigeria, what happened there? Oh, they kidnapped the sitting president. What just happened in Ecuador? A guy running for president was taken out, right? And what do they show? They show these groups that obviously here in America, we would say, oh, that's like MAGA, right? That makes the liberals look and go, oh, that's like MAGA. It's the same thing. We got to worry about that here. And they could create, that would be the ultimate psyop if they do something along those lines with one of the presidents. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be real. These people will just get shipped off to Bagelville and spend their days. But that's where we're headed. It's very easy to see. Look at all these celebrities. I'm just going to read celebrities who have, I won't show you the screenshots. I'll just read their quotes and things that they said about Donald Trump. Mickey Rourke, this guy's tough to look at. He called him a big-mouthed bully bee. And he says, love 30 seconds in a room with the little bee. That's Mickey Rourke. So I'd say that to me, that's not really a threat. But in today's society, it's considered one, right? By the standards of today's society, you can't even blink at somebody the wrong way. People are so sensitive. Then you get Larry Wilmore from Comedy Central, The Nightly Show. Wow, this must be a disaster of a show. You can just tell this guy's not funny. He says, I don't want to give him any more oxygen. That's not a euphemism. By the way, I mean it literally. Somebody get me the pillow they used to take out Scalia, and I'll do it. I'll do it. That's a little extreme. George Lopez tweet out a cartoon image of former Mexican president Vicente Fox holding the decapitated head of Donald Trump, right? Like I mentioned earlier, Kathy Griffin. Then you get Marilyn Manson, right? Marilyn Manson had to take his turn at the Trump bashing in a teaser for his song Say 10, which of course, Satan, which I did cover years ago. He released that in 2016 with a Trump-like figure wearing a suit and red tie, decapitated. So this is a common theme, right? This is seed planting. Rosie O'Donnell, push Trump off a cliff again, was a tweet that she put out. Madonna, do this to the White House. Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro. He said, it wasn't like I was going to go find him and really punch him in the face, but he's got to hear it. So he's talking about punching him in the face, I guess, which isn't as extreme as some of these other things. I mean, they're so extreme. You know, the visualization of someone it's pretty extreme. I mean, but I guess people are so desensitized and so into the politics that they don't actually care what they're talking about. They're so brainwashed that it's frightening. And my concern and why I cover this is that the Republicans are going to get herded too. And don't think when they get herded to a certain side, I know everybody looks at it and they're like, well, that's great. We'll be separated from them. Because I'm also going to be herded to the red states, because there's no way I'm living amongst this insanity that's going on right now. I won't survive. So I'd have to choose. We'll all have to. And nobody's going to pick the other side. The other side's going to be, let's get inside your body type of stuff. So once people are herded to a conservative side, then whoever is in power, then say it is Trump and it's a dictatorship, right? Say he doesn't win the election and then something happens and then it's just a big chaos. Well, we've heard the government talking about how the American experiment doesn't work anymore. That's what they keep saying, even though nobody was thinking that a couple of years ago until all of these psychopaths got in, and that includes Trump. But just imagine then what Trump can do, herding the Republicans, the conservatives, into believing he's a prophet and all these other things. That's where this is headed. So we had Snoop Dogg was another person who had a song where, like I said earlier, held up, pretty much capped them, as the kids say. You get New York City's, what is this one? New York City's Public Theater, Julius Caesar. I covered that as well. They did a Shakespeare. I covered that in 2017. Blast from the past. They did a Shakespeare thing where Trump was whacked, right? Moby said the musician's new video released in June 2017 is simultaneously nostalgic and dystopian. In 1980s cartoon fashion, a giant transformer like Trump morphs into a dollar sign and wreaks havoc on a city before meeting a fiery, explosive demise. So this is the point, though. These would all be considered threats. Johnny Depp. I mean, we're talking about the president. It was one thing like when Genesis, The band Genesis mocked Ronald Reagan. Oh, that was even a big thing back then. Oh, I can't believe they're, taking on Reagan and kind of making him look like a puppet, cartoon puppet or whatever the thing was, claymation. Everybody was like, wow, And look what we've evolved to, where these people get away with this stuff by design. So Johnny Depp was another one. He said, I think Trump needs help. When was the last time an actor whacked a president, right? Anthony Bourdain, who was whacked himself by his girlfriend, asked what he deserved at a peace summit between President Trump and North Korea. He said, hemlock, right? Big Sean, whoever this guy is. He said, I might just go after ISIS with the same ice pick that I take out Donald Trump with. I don't mean to slow down my talking. I'm trying to use words to get around what would be, quickly alert the algorithm. Pearl Jam, another band that talked about violent acts against him. So my point in doing this video is that even the FBI story, these are all things that psychologically seed plant you. So you might not realize it. And I guarantee you, if you saw that, you thought of yourself, you thought of me probably, and you said to yourself, this is crap. When is this stuff going to stop? But you got to realize that it's all psychologically being done. And if people could break free from the left and right and realize that they've already gained power, but there's more of us than them, and they need to herd. They need to herd people. There's going to be half the country that's electric and under control and smart cities. And then who knows what the other side's going to look like. I'm sure it'll still be gas powered and all this other stuff. But that's what it's headed towards. That's why they're doing this. That's why they put these stories out there, not just to piss you off. They put the stories out there because they know that they can herd people, and people are going to reach a breaking point, and it's going to take one huge false flag to do it. And it looks like we possibly could know what that false flag is because they've constantly put all that writing on the wall with Trump or potentially with Biden with a story like this. It's all psychological. It's all a work. You're just completely under control. All of us are, until we break free from it. So you have to take yourself out of it. It's trending all over the place. And I see all these conservatives talking about it. And they're like, we got to break free. How much more of this are we going to take? That's the common theme all over. And I get why it's the common theme. How do you think I feel? Look how I've been kicked down, what they've done to me. And I'm not even a Trump support. I don't support either because I know that they're not real. I know that they're all working together. Right? But they don't want that message out there about them working together. Imagine what would happen if conservatives found out that Donald Trump was working with them. Imagine they found photos of him shirtless next to Biden or anything that would be like alarming to them. What would happen then? Then there would be like real chaos. Then there would be people going, okay, this whole thing, we've all been set up. We've all been duped, right? But they don't do that because they only meet with each other when they're meeting in secret, when they're meeting underground, when you don't have cameras outside now, like the Bilderberg or Davos. They're sitting there with cameras. They know that they're going there. What about other times? You don't think that they can communicate secretly and meet in places? Of course they can. They don't need to use their traditional methods like Bohemian Grove anymore because they know that that stuff's going to go viral, that people are going to film it on their phones or fly drones over it, right? They're not. That's the thing. We're talking about the intel agency here. Okay? As much as I rag on the intel agency with like some of the poor crisis actors and all that stuff that we see, they obviously know to a T what they're doing. They can't be this unself-aware. Like they have self-awareness. They know what they're doing by design. They're an intel agency at the top of our government, right? So they know psychologically. They've been experimenting on people for decades. You can go back to the LSD in the 70s and MK Ultra. I mean, they've been doing it for decades. They've mastered it. So when we look at these things and we're like, oh, that's sloppy, like the FBI doing that, you have to realize it's by design. The FBI would, if they were going to do that, they wouldn't put the story out. What did they call MB? People get shot all the time. They want the story to be the main story trending on the news because they want to herd you. They want to psychologically lead you in the direction that they want to lead you in and where they want you to end up. And it's all in place because everybody's buying into it. And I get it. When I look at it, I get it why people would be like, well, I'd rather have Trump than this. Even though, people have memory of 5 minutes ago. They don't remember when Trump was in office, the censorship started. And he didn't do anything. And I'm not just talking about censorship. I'm talking about just so much nonsense, right? He wouldn't be here if they wanted him to be here still, right? What's the line from The Godfather, right? Anybody can be killed, right? Anybody. So these people have the ability to do whatever they want. They can come here and kill me. I don't know why they would. They already beat me down enough. But I mean, they have the ability to do whatever they want. They have full control, spying on us 24/7. So you have to pull yourself out, look at these stories and say, why am I feeling this way? Or say, how am I feeling when I see this? And then realize that's how they want you to feel, because none of it makes the news unless they want it to make the news, period. The only exception is affiliate news, small news towns where they'll put their national media in it, but they talk about stuff locally. So they spread little breadcrumbs of the national, climate. Oh, it's so hot in our town, they'll tell you, and all that stuff. And then they'll go into like domestic stuff or events that occur to make it look like it's legitimate. It's a different method. They know the majority of people are watching national news anyway. So that's what they're doing here. I mean, it's very clear to see. I don't know how people don't see it. I guess if you just start thinking psychologically about this stuff, and you start just basically okay, they control the news. So why is this getting out? Wouldn't they control it from getting out? Oh, okay. So the trending narrative is rules for me, not for thee again, or rules for thee, not for me again. I mean, that's the common theme over the years. The Hunter Biden thing, the mess with the politicians over and over, right? And it even made liberal media, which tells you that they wanted it to be out there, showing Biden out at a restaurant, no mask, or Gavin Newsom, no mask. They want it there, right? They don't need to even mention this story. But now after they mention that, what happens? Oh, Kathy Griffin goes viral. Oh, Robert De Niro, Snoop Dogg. And they say, this is bullcrap, this is bullcrap, this is bullcrap, right? Then the stories come out about the guy who was shot. He was a Christian. He was wonderful. He was a great guy. He wasn't a threat. He was just running his mouth on the internet. And that makes people even angrier, because then they go, well, I can relate to that. I don't like this stuff that I'm seeing. That's you know what I mean? That's how it works. And then people emotionally get caught up in it. They're like, let me hear the backstory of the guy. Oh, he was a good person, a loving whatever. Was he a husband? I don't know. But I read he was a Christian and a good man, right? And then it makes people go, that could happen to me. That could happen to me. And it's not just about censoring and silencing you. It's about hurting you the way they want to hurt you. So keep an eye on these types of stories. I wanted to cover it. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless all of you and your families.